Hey there, Photo Universe. Sorry, this is spot metering in the zone system, if you've been wondering what that's all about. So here we are in the Photo Universe high-tech prop room. We've got the Photo Universe black stove, black wood stove, and the Photo Universe whiteboard. There's Photo Dog doing the honors, having a good nap. It's a hot day out, you know, that's the way it is. Okay, so there's our whiteboard. All right, let's talk about this. This is interesting. It's almost like science. It's fascinating. All right, cutting across here. Here we go. So, we spot metered. Now, the photographs at the beginning of this, at the introduction to this video, are educational, okay? So, we spot metered the scene, and we spot metered the whiteboard, and that gave us that exposure, 1/25th at f4. All these are f4. We're going to change our shutter speeds to move stops, okay? We spot metered our black stove, and it gave us half a second. That was the black stove. This was the whiteboard, okay? We took a photograph somewhere in the middle at 1:15. And guess what happened? 1/15th of a second, guess what happened? It made our whiteboard white and our black stove black. Now, why did that happen that way? Good question. We go to Ansel Adams' zone system, right? So, 18% gray is zone 5. 18%. See, I'm screwing that up. That's 18% gray. Middle gray. Zone 5. This is a little lighter, a little lighter. This is white with detail. And this is pure white, no detail, ND. So this would, let's call this light gray, and that's light gray. This would be light gray. This would be dark gray, dark gray, black with detail, black, no detail. Okay, so when you talk about dynamic range, when you hear that talked about, that's right there, kind of the usable dynamic range for a black and white photograph, color photograph too, but we won't go into that right now. We're talking black and white to help us easily understand the concept. When you have black with detail, that's as black as you can go without having no detail. If you have no detail, it's just black. You're not taking a photograph of anything except for blackness, I guess. I mean, there's usefulness for that, but most of the time you want detail, right? And then same thing with white. You can go white with no detail, but you know, that's washed out. And that has a purpose too. But for the most part, we want detail in everything we photograph from white to black. So, the useful dynamic range is, each one of these is a stop, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stops. Okay? Now, modern digital cameras supposedly have dynamic ranges of 14 stops. Is that useful? Yes, it is very useful, because the world doesn't always compress into a 6-stop range. Okay? That's why you have to play games with HDR and stuff like that. Because even though you're going out there, you got to compress it down so you can print it, right? Okay? So, okay, let's not go into that. That'll confuse everybody. So here's what happened. We got our white, we got our black. So check this out. The meter, okay, in the camera wanted to make this 18% gray. So it took the white and it bumped it up, it darkened it 3 stops to get to 18% gray. Meter's working great. Guess what? It took our black stove and it bumped it down. Well, no, the other way around. It bumped it up 3 stops to make that 18% gray. The whiteboard, it bumped down 3 stops to make it 18% gray. So if you want a white board and a black stove, you shoot at f4 at 1/15 of a second. Now in theory, evaluative metering should take that all into consideration and you end up with it, but it doesn't, evaluative doesn't really work that way. And if you want to play with it, get something white, get something black, spot meter both of them, write down the exposure, put it on evaluative, and see what you end up with. So now, if we had just spot metered our white board, let's say that was what is important to us, we didn't care about the black stove. If we spot metered 1/25th of a second, if we dropped it down, if we overexposed, so instead of 1/25th, 1/60th, 1/30th, 1/15th, we're letting in more light, we're overexposing 3 stops. Okay, if you overexpose 3 stops on this scale, 1, 2, so we're at 18% gray, 1, 2, 3, guess what? That's white with detail, right? On the black stove, okay, our meter gave us half a second, letting in 3 extra stops of light so it can get to 18% gray. So if half a second is 18% gray, if we underexpose a quarter, an eighth, a 15th, now we're moving down the scale that way, right? We're on zone 2, black with detail. All right? So my recommendation is get yourself something white, get yourself something definitely black, spot meter both of them, realize that your meter reading, put it on manual, realize that your meter reading is trying to give you 18% gray. So you have to overexpose your whites, okay, by 3 stops, overexpose 3 stops, in order to get to white. With your black, you need to underexpose your blacks by 3 stops from what your spot meter reading in your camera is giving you in order to get to black. So you underexpose your blacks by 3 stops for what your meter is giving you, and you overexpose your whites by 3 stops to make them white, okay? Photograph your white item with what your spot meter is giving you, and you're going to have a gray board. Photograph your black with what your spot meter is giving you, and you're going to have a gray stove. Okay? You have to think about this, and you have to experiment, but this will help you in your photography. Okay? If you really want to understand what's going on and grasp the creative process, particularly with black and white, you want to get this basic concept. This is like the zone system kindergarten. This is the beginning. This is the basics. This is the first thing you need to try to think about. So work on this, try to understand, watch the video a couple of times. If you have to, experiment. I know it's, you know, things are sliding around and everything's going bananas, but it does make sense. There's a method to this. So try to work through it, and I hope that didn't make it more confusing. But if you studied a little bit, come back, watch the video again, experiment a little bit, come back. It'll eventually make sense. All right, that's it with Photo Universe. Thanks a lot. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Post any comments if you've got them for anything you want to know, and I'll see if I can get to them or make a video about it or whatever. All right, have a good one. Bye.